Hi, I'm Duck, and I'm going to teach you the basics of Hammer, of what you can do and all the tools and stuff. Alright, for right now I want to look on this left hand side of all my tools I got to use. This right here is called the selection tool, where you can select different items and stuff that you would put in your map. You can also use it as a measurement tool also. Okay, this is called your magnifying tool. You can pretty much zoom in and zoom out. You left mouse click to zoom in, right left mouse click to zoom out. Okay, right here's called your camera tool. You click in your 3D view. As you can see, I have a free orbit of my camera view. Okay, that's pretty much a preset for your camera. I didn't really want that, but anyways, you can pretty much do certain stuff. Like there's a shortcut key for your camera view and stuff. Like you see right now, I'm pretty much moving around without even touching the tool. What you would do here is hold down your space bar, and on your mouse left click in the 3D view. You see it pretty much puts me in the camera mode, and I'd hold down the left mouse button, release the space bar. As you can see, I can move around like this. And to move up and backwards, left to right, the buttons you would use is W to go up, S to go back, D to go right, and A to go left, like that. Alright. Now in your wireframe views, you can use the space bar. You can see I got a little pan hand tool right here. It's called the pan tool. And I'll left click my mouse button, hold down the space bar. You see it kind of like grabs the wireframe like that. You can just move your wireframe around. Now for the zoom in and zoom out tool, you can pretty much use your wheel and your mouse to do that. Like that. Alright, this right here is called the entity tool, which you have different perspectives and entities that you can use. Like right here, where whenever you click on the entity tool, this right here will light up. You see I choose different 3 different things right here. Prefabs and prefabs Half-Life 2 are pretty much saved documentations that you would create in your maps, such as let's say you make a box with an AK-47 in it and you can shoot the box tip off. Yeah, you could pretty much save that and copy and paste it using different maps as prefabs. You just save your item and put in there. Alright, you see my entities tool. I have different entities that I can use. There's plenty of them. Pretty much the more you use of Hammer, the more you understand how to use these. The block tool and entity tool mostly. Like whenever you click on this block tool, you can see I have primitives that come up, and your primitives are pretty much your objects that you can use, such as an arch, block, cylinder, sphere, spike, torus, and a wedge. These are different objects that you can use, such as a spike. I'll show you how to do that. See, this is my top view right here. I'm going to expand this out to 512 units by 512 units. So you can see my texture right here is glass. Of course, I could choose different textures. I'll just browse, click on the browse for textures button. See a different list of textures here. As you can see, you can choose the size, the list of your icons, like 128, 256, and 512. So you click on 512, see how big they get. Or I can click on 256. Pretty much makes them smaller. I like mine the 128, where I have more entity views. Or texture views, I mean. As you can see, I type in the photo, I typed in glass, it showed up a bunch of glass textures. I want to type in, so let's say wood. As you can see, I have a different list of wood textures. I want to choose something reasonable, such as, let's say a solid wood. As you can see, my cube is still there. This cube right here will turn into a spike. So what I would want to do here is right click and create object. And as you can see, my wedge or my spike here has been turned into a 512 unit by 512 unit spike. And you can resize that, make it even more taller, wider, etc. But that's how you can use different objects. Entities I'll get into later. Right here is your apply texture tool, and that I'll get into later. Um, this is apply current texture tool. You really don't need to worry about that tool. This is called apply decals, which is such as like your bomb sight, the little target, a B, stuff like that. Like you have bomb sight B and you have a little arrow coming off the B and stuff. That's what you would use right here. And you can choose your decals in the browse for textures, which I'll get into later. Right here is called overlays. It pretty much has the same properties as the apply decals. You can use overlays to use such as like the effects of light, because they have different textures in here that you can use for light effects, and blood effects and stuff such as that. This right here is called your clipping tool. You can pretty much clip off the sides of objects. Let's say I want to choose a block here. It creates sort of like a cubish six-faced object. I'd right click create object and you see I have a giant wooden cube. Now let's say I want to turn it to like a wedge. Of course you can pretty much do that in objects, but if you want to create like a let's say let's see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-sided figure using this. Okay, pretty much the red side that looks, wherever it looks red, that means which side's going to get cut off. Okay, this is my top view right here, and these are my side views. I just messed with it. Okay, this red side right here is going to get cut off, so while this is all highlighted like that, I would click enter. As you can see, it kind of clipped off some of the block right here. However, this might be an invalid structure too, and you might want to get that checked out. To be able to check for problems, you would want to hold down the Alt button and P. This is the check for problems view, which you have any problems in your map like invalid structures, unused key values, etc. Okay, this right here says there's no info player start. That's for Half-Life 2. You don't really need to worry about that for Counter-Strike Source. But for Half-Life 2, it is included to put in an info player start. Alright, so I'd hit close. Apparently this is not an invalid object. But yeah, you can pretty much do that. Alright, this right here is called your morphing vertex tool, and I'll show you how to use that. Okay, create a I'm gonna create more of a smaller rectangle cube like this, and I'll click on this vertex tool. You see I have a different little tiny icons that I can choose on. I can either choose in the wireframe view. If you click on one of the white boxes, it pretty much chooses 2 of them. And the yellow boxes, it chooses 2 of them, but this is for more like to expand out both sides. Or you can click on the white buttons, hold down the control button, and click on the other white little icons. You can pretty much do the same thing, but move it side to side and stuff. Let's say if you want to choose one side of this block in here. In your 3D view, you want to click on one of these white little icons, and you see it only chooses one. And you can pretty much resize this where it goes out. It goes in like that, and you can just like do different things to it. But you need to watch out for this tool also. It creates a lot of invalid structures. Like right now, I know I created an invalid structure. Okay, I'll show you how to fix this. Hit Alt P. See, it says problem found, invalid solid structure, and it selects that object. You can either go to the error like this, and you click on fix, and it kind of resizes it, so if you can't use it, you can't use it. It won't run during the map. Okay, that's pretty much the basis on this side. As I told you, for prefabs, you pretty much create like an AK-47, put it in a box, you shoot the box off, you get the AK-47. You can do that. Up here, your tools right here. This right here is your wireframe tools, such as if you click on this, it gets rid of your wireframes like this. Your 3D toggle, you don't really need to worry about that. But these right here make your grid smaller and make your grid larger, like that, or like that. You see how smaller they get. These right here you don't need to worry about. This right here is your undo button and your redo button. The shortcut for undo and redo is Control Z or Control Y. Control Z does undo, Control Y does redo. These you don't need to worry about. This right here is to create a group of selected objects. Let's say you have like 6 cubes out here, like that. or let's say we had 4. You can pretty much select more than one object by holding down the control button, clicking on other objects, and you can pretty much select more than one object holding down the control button and left click your mouse to select more than one. Okay, up here you have your tools where you can create this into a group or ungroup it, or you can right click and go down to group or control Z, or control G I mean, or you can ungroup it by control U. It'll pretty much tell you all the shortcut keys. Okay, let's say I want to group it. I'll left click on that, and you see if I re-click it again. Okay, usually if you re-click it again it'll select them all, but anyways, that's how you would group more. As you can see, I remanipulated or reduplicated those blocks. The easy way to do that, make sure you have it selected using the selection tool. Hold down the shift key, left mouse button click, and drag to where you want it. Make sure you hold down the shift key and release your left mouse button, and then release the shift key. As you can see now, I duplicated more than one object. Let's say if I want to duplicate both of these guys. I want to hold down the control T, select both of them, hold on the shift key, and then drag to where you want them, like that. That's how you can pretty much duplicate and select more than one object. That's an easy shortcut key. And these are pretty much your other buttons you can use. Really, you don't really need to use all these, but this button right here is called your run map button. Like at the end, if you got your map finished and you want to run this map, or run your creation, you click on this or hit the shortcut key, which is F9. You see, if I did hit F9, it'll load, or it'll ask me to save first, and you would save your map if it's not already saved. Right now I'm going to save this as, say, blah. Doesn't really matter what you save it as. Click save, and your map now is called blah, and it'll ask you how to run your map. Your run BSP is pretty much the entities that you put in your map, such as like your spawn points and etc., which I'll get into later. Your VIS is pretty much the visual on your entities and stuff, such as water, the effects on water, etc. Your RAD is your lighting, such as lighting, shadows, etc. And this right here, it asks you to run the map, or don't run it. You click on that, or additional parameters. You would check on the Valve, I believe the Wikipedia for Valve, and you would look for where to ask you, or to tell you where to what to put here. It pretty much will tell you on the wiki website. We can click on expert. Pretty much know what you're doing. You can choose different things right here, or you can click on normal mode and click on that. And your HDR rating, which means high dynamic, yeah, something like that. I don't know what it means, but oh well. That's how you would compile your map. Any other tutorial I'll get on to later.